Welcome to Fear Babes Podcast, a paranormal podcast founded and hosted by Fear fan members.
All thoughts and opinions are strictly our own, and we are not affiliated with any shows in any way.
My name is Burgundy.
My name is Madeline.
And we are
the Fear Babes. Hi, babes. We are back. Did you miss us? I hope you did, because we missed you. Give me a big old kiss. Mwah.
Ew. That one was juicy sounding.
I know, it was a little bit juicy.
Like a little squeak, like it snuck out between my teeth, which is weird.
That's hot.
Is it now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We'll let the viewers decide. Was it hot? Tell me the secrets.
Tell us.
Tell us all your secrets. Last time you heard from us, what did we do? We talked to Amanda about the Sally house.
Yeah,
that was it. Cool. So anyways, what are we doing today, Mads?
Today, we are discussing paranormal stories, but not just any paranormal story. It is your paranormal stories that you guys shared us a couple weeks ago. It's been a minute, but I'm very excited to get into these stories because they're a little bit spooky. So I just want to go ahead and say thank you to everyone who submitted their stories. A lot of them are very vulnerable, and I can't wait to share them. So thank you again.
Fun? Thank you. But you know what's really fun, Mads, is I read these when we got them all, but that was like 2 months ago, so I kind of don't remember them. So we're gonna be like hearing them again, like it's with fresh eyes. And
exactly.
Spook factor all over again.
And I just want to say real quick that you are most likely going to hear Duchess in the back. I'm going to try to not have her in the back as much as possible, but she is very talkative today, as per usual, but it's even worse. So, yeah, just forewarning. Anyway, all right.
Sorry, I muted myself because I had to sneeze.
Okay, good. See, we're going to be doing that a lot. So
bear with us. As much as I hate to say it, I could relate to Al right now because allergies. But I don't want to relate to Al, so moving on. I am cold. Do we want to do a quick little catch up of how long have we been gone now? 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month? Who knows?
We've been gone a minute, so yeah, maybe we should do a little catch up.
What have you done in this last month?
So this last month has pretty much been more of like a recuperation period for me because tax season has been over for a couple weeks now, and I've just been kind of trying to rest as much as possible, even though I still have to go to work. And I've been doing a lot of fun weekend stuff. Us trying to square away like our Wyoming itinerary and details and all that kind of stuff, which has been really fun. That's been that's been fun. I'm trying to think of everything else. It feels like it's been eventful yet uneventful all at the same time, but it's just been like more of just recuperation. Reading. I've been reading a lot, which if you know me, that's pretty usual. And I tell you everything, Bergie.
I know it's funny. It's because it's like sorry that you have to hear this for like the 50th time from me, but I'm telling you, be so for our listeners, so they can know.
Literally, I'm like, is there anything that I'm missing? I mean, we're planning my mom's 50th birthday trip for next year to Alaska. I'm really excited.
Hell yeah!
Yeah, and that's gonna be very, very, very fun. And just kind of a lot of baby stuff for Sierra, a lot of wedding stuff for my brother's fiance Leah, who is also Sierra's sister, which I always like to remind people because it can get kind of confusing. But me and Sierra are literally like elated that our siblings are getting married and we're going to officially be family. So it's going to be fun.
I think it's cute. It's super cute.
Yeah, we squared away the bachelorette trip. I mean, mostly the theme has been, like I said twice already, recuperation, trip planning, reading, just trying to, kind of chill out and trying to prepare for what's ahead. So,
Sick.
yeah, pretty much it. What about you?
Basically the same. I don't know. I haven't been doing a lot. I went axe throwing last weekend. That was hella fun. I love axe throwing.
Yeah.
I don't do it enough. That was fun. And then I decided to start spring cleaning last weekend. So my house is like a little bit torn apart. I'm slowly putting it back together, but I'm like panicking because literally in 4 weeks you will be here. And it's like I have so many things to do, and then it's like, but I have time, and then it's like, but I don't actually have time though.
You do. I mean, we're
you do, but you don't at the same time. Like it's gonna be gone. The time will be gone before you know it.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, and then what else? Work's been keeping me pretty busy. Been working, going in early, leaving late again. So that's fun. Getting some of those health issues under control, which is causing other weird health issues as you get shit figured out. So, yay! Here we go with a bunch of fucking migraines again. Let's see what else. There was something else I was gonna say. What was it? Oh, I've been listening to our Tour de Wyoming playlist that we made. Because I'm like I'm trying to learn the songs that I don't know on it, so we can properly jam out in the car. Hi, Dutchie. So yeah, but I think I don't know. Should we share that with the listeners? Should we drop the link to the Tour de Wyoming playlist, and people can just be like, "Oh, okay, this makes a lot of sense." Either that, or they'll think we're even crazier. Because that playlist is all over the fucking place.
We should 100% because it's actually kind of funny at the same time. We have a couple random ass songs in there that are just like, what?
It's also like, if you want, you can pretend like you're going on a road trip with us, because this is our road trip playlist. So Matt's muted. 100% muted. It's like you can tell. It's like when somebody's not talking, it's like quiet, but when it's muted, it's like extra quiet.
It's true, because it's just like, I mean, you hear this? Let's just let her talk. She's really getting on my nerves. So anyway, shall we get into it? Or did you have something else to say to me?
No, I think that's it. Like I said, we talk all the time, so like we already know all this shit. It's just like for the viewers' purposes, for your listening pleasure, for your supple little eardrums. That was disgusting. Why did I say that? Did you hear what I said?
Yeah, you're weird. I'm just kidding. I'm 100% kidding.
Sure.
I mean, I'm pretty daggum weird, if we're being honest. Like,
that's why sometimes people like. Go ahead, you first.
So, like, obviously, like sometimes I'll like have revelations in my brain, and that's very like rare when it does happen because my brain is so smooth. However, when I do have these revelations, the first person I send a text to is Bergie, and I'll be like, so I just thought about all this stuff, literally me at 1 a.m. last night. And you were like, oh, yeah, cool.
The math do be mathin' though.
It's true. And like, you'll do the same to me. And then I'm like, oh, what? Oh, so yeah, you're welcome
like for putting all the puzzle pieces together. You're like, ta-da!
All of a sudden, I turn into a French. Yeah, I turn French. I'm like, oui, oui. Oh. Cut the cameras. That was funny. Really cringy.
No, we gotta leave it. See, what I was gonna say is like, because you're like, you're weird. And you're like, but I'm weird too. And then I was gonna say, for some reason, the people like that. Like, I'm like 80% sure that's why people will come back to listen to us.
Yeah, honestly. Sorry. Honestly,
I was like, don't
Alyssa.
yawn. Don't fucking yawn right now. If you yawn, I'm gonna yawn, and then we're gonna get stuck in a cycle of yawning.
I know it's true, but honestly, like, shout out to the people who still listen to us. We're like 30 something. How many? How many episodes?
We're closer
30.
to 40
We're 36.
episodes.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
36 episodes into this, so like, whew, that's crazy. So shout out to the people who have
Stuck with
listened
us.
since day one. New listeners, like, you guys are awesome. I appreciate you all so very much. So very much.
Super grateful. Super grateful for
And so much so that you guys are so willing to be vulnerable and share these paranormal stories with us. Like, you trust us enough to do this, and that within itself is such a beautiful blessing. So,
exactly.
thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's dive in, shall we? Oh yeah. So first, from Instagram. So we have Jade K. Mullins 1302 on Instagram shared her story with us. With us. Her story is, so I've had experiences when I was younger. I was around 12 years old. I had just woken up from voices, and of course I assumed it was my mom and stepdad talking before he left for work. Well, that wasn't the case. I turned my attention towards the doorway of my bedroom, and all I had seen was a tall black shadow just standing in the doorway. Was it bad? No, I don't believe so. If it wanted to do harm, it had opportunities to do so. I never shared this with many people because I did not want to be seen as crazy or loony per se. Another experience. I was in 4th grade in elementary school, just going about the day like we usually did. My class and I were paying attention to our teacher, and her desk was in the direction of the windows. She was nowhere near the drawstrings to the blinds. The blinds had gone up, and to this day nobody knows what it could have been. So that's Jade's story.
Ew. Spooky.
Spooky indeed. I don't know how I would feel about being 12 years old and like seeing a black shadow in the doorway of my bedroom.
Dude, I easily would have pooped myself.
This kind of reminds me, did I ever tell you about the balloon story?
I don't think so.
Okay. Should I tell my own story real fast?
Yeah.
It's super weird. But so we lived in Gillette at the time, Gillette, Wyoming. I don't know why this made me think of it. It's like totally like I'm gonna tell you and you're gonna be like, how are those two related? They're not related at all. But so I got balloons for my birthday one year, and my birthday is just a couple days after Valentine's Day, so they had heart-shaped balloons, right? And so I had like one left over, and I was sleeping in my bed, and I was in middle school, so like, a baby teenager, and I woke up in the middle of the night, and this balloon, I just like let it like float around in my room, right? And so it was over by my dresser, and it started floating along the ceiling, like towards my bed. So like my dresser was all the way on one wall, and my bed was all the way on the other wall, and the room was kind of like, we lived in a double wide trailer, so it was like a long room and it wasn't very wide. So it was like coming along the ceiling, and I was like, okay, that's weird. It's probably just like the air is moving or whatever, the vents from the ceiling. Well, it started to lower as it was coming across to my bed. And so it's coming straight at me and starts to lower down closer to the floor as it's coming toward my bed. And I shit you not, it gets about maybe 5 feet off the ground, and it's like facing, like the balloon is like facing the whole wall. It starts to turn, so the heart shape is facing me. This is like a slow, creepy, like spooky movie turn that it did. And I was like, fuck this shit. And I jumped out of my bed and I went down to the bathroom because I had to pee anyways. And it was the middle of the night and I was freaked out. So I left the door open. And this fucking balloon shows up in the doorway of the bathroom. I was so scared, Mads. I know you're on mute right now, but I took it and I shoved it under my brother's bed. And I went back to my room and closed the door so it couldn't get me.
Honestly, relatable.
It was like, I'm not fucking doing this. My poor brother and shoved the haunted balloon right under his bed. And I told my parents about it, and Dawn, of course, was like, "Oh, it's just the air in the house." I'm like, "No, it literally just like started coming at me and dropping lower to the floor at the same time. Like by the time I got to the bathroom, it was like 2 feet off the ground. Like, what? How do you be on the ceiling and then like I don't know, 10 minutes later you're on the floor as a balloon? What is that?"
Yeah, that's I don't know. That that within itself is just kind of like really creepy. Like,
I
what?
think the reason I thought of that is because she said she was 12 when her story happened, so I was like, I was about that age, whatever.
You know, though, like I had something similar happen, and I've talked about this before on the podcast, but like, I was probably around 12 years old too when I had woken up from voices as well, which is really weird. And I was just kind of like, I do remember seeing like a figure of some sort, like, but it was just like the head of something, and it wouldn't really move. It would just stay there, and it would be there one night and then not the other. So it wasn't like a shadow of anything, but it was just there, like on the attic door, and it was the creepiest thing ever. Like I couldn't sleep.
Yeah,
I
I
would
don't like
just
that
stare
at
at
all.
it. Yeah, I would just look at it like, oh, what?
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's freaky. I don't like stuff
That
like
is
that.
freaky.
Ever since then, like I've definitely asked to God and to anything that's here. I'm just like, I don't want to see you. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see anything. Like, please don't let me see it because I just can't do it.
Yeah.
It's
Honestly,
just
same.
too much. It's too much for me. Like, I'm fine with hearing things, but seeing is a totally like different ball game. So
Yeah.
scary. Um,
Do you
all
think
right.
so? Do you think since we're all about 12, this is such a stupid ass question. Do you think going through puberty has anything to do with your,
No,
your
like
openness to the paranormal? I don't know.
I was kind of wondering the same thing because I was like, what is up with 12? Like, what is it? What about that age or like your tween years changes things? Like, is it the hormonal stuff? Is it like, because, you know, like hormones also connect to the brain, and the brain also, you know, helps you. I don't know. Like I'm sitting here trying to be a scientist. Oh, the brain helps you see, and I don't. Like, but
We're
you know
trying
what
to
I mean.
rationalize things you can't rationalize.
Yeah, because you can't, like, you genuinely can't rationalize like why you see things. But I do remember like a time where like a lot of times people associate like paranormal experiences to old homes. And that is just not the case because I had a lot of paranormal experiences in a brand new house. Like a brand new, my parents built the house kind of house. Like it had only existed for like 3 years.
But it could be the
And
land that you're on.
100%. And
Yeah.
some people kind of fail to like recognize that may be a thing because a lot of people just see paranormal experiences based on like the structure rather than what lies underneath, what lies around it. Like, especially here in the South, you just don't know. Like, we had a lot of Native Americans that started here. We had, like, you know, the Civil War, the Revolutionary War. Like, these grounds were all battlefields at one point. And if not battlefields, they trekked through here. There were old homes on this land. Like, you don't know what was there prior.
Right. Exactly.
And stuff that, you know, we're fortunate nowadays to be able to have like historical sites and still, you know, standing structures, but that's not the case for everywhere.
Right.
And you just don't know what existed. So I was always told that there was like a Native American like burial ground near where I lived because of the Waxhaws in North Carolina. They were a native tribe and they lived in the area. So I genuinely have no idea. Like, I always got a weird feeling about it potentially maybe being something like that. But you never know. And I don't know. I don't know.
No,
Maybe we're
exactly
just
though.
like, I just know that children are more susceptible to like paranormal experiences, and then after a certain age it gets harder to be more in tune with that kind of stuff.
Right.
So
So
I don't know,
maybe like when
maybe.
you're going through puberty, you're like still young enough to be vulnerable enough to it, but it's like
Yeah.
right before you like kind of leave that part of what do you want to call that? When you leave that part of like being that open.
Adolescence.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, maybe it's the sweet spot, where like you still have that adolescence, that immunity to, like what we discussed. Like my mom was just kind of like, no, I'm not telling you anything. She just kind of played dumb about ghosts until like I actually started getting older to where she knew that I wouldn't be terrified.
Right.
And so like it's just one of those things where if you don't know that it exists, then you're not going to be scared of it potentially, unless it's like actually like a scary thing and it's like a traumatic experience. Like, you know what I mean? I don't
Yeah.
know.
I don't
I
know. A
hope my
lot of times
words.
your words, yeah, they're making sense. I was just gonna add a lot of times like humans, like being part of the human experience rather, is people are afraid of what they don't know. Even even in just normal day-to-day stuff that other humans go through, people end up being afraid of what they don't know, they don't understand. Like this is the dumbest thing ever. But you know how you and I were talking about like my food allergies the other day, and I was telling you
Yeah.
about how I think that was yesterday actually, but I was telling you about how like people used to like belittle me and stuff like that, or like you know say I made it up or whatever. Like people just generally as humans, like if they don't understand things, they just rather not. Like they don't not open minded to trying to understand things. And it's like things you don't know and things you don't understand are scary.
Yeah.
That's why the paranormal is scary to a lot of people because it's like for example, you and I are just trying to rationalize why is it 12 years old? You know what I mean? And it's
Right.
just it's human nature to try to rationalize things. So I don't know. I don't know where I was trying to go with that. I think you kind of catch the idea though, but
Yeah. I did for sure. I hope that like we're kind of making sense because we have been out of this for a couple weeks and we're just kind of like like
guys, I'm struggling, okay? Like my little,
it's like
my literal brain. Oh my god, my literal brain cells are not connecting today.
right. And like I promise that I'm somewhat of an intellectual being. I just sometimes have like smooth brain days. But yeah. So shall we get into the next story?
Yeah, real quick, I was gonna say these are like we call these
Oh,
campfire conversations.
oh
These
yeah.
are the type of
Yeah, yeah,
things
yeah.
that like we used to sit around campfires and talk about weird shit like this, like with your family.
Honestly, I can't wait to actually do that in Wyoming with Sheena because you guys, like, we're going like essentially off the grid and I'm
Mhm.
excited about it. Like,
We're
because,
literally off the grid. Like there will be no cell service for
yeah,
like 3 days for us. Like I'm
which is
kidnapping you. Anyways,
exactly. I'm kind of
continue.
excited though because, like, we're going to make mountain pies and I've never gone camping before. I know.
Guys, pray
I
for
know.
Mads. I mean, okay. Okay.
I'll be fine. I'll be
We
fine.
all we all love Mads very, very much, okay? But this is very much not well, maybe not very much, but this is a little bit outside of her comfort zone, if I may say that for you, Mads. Um, so
Yeah, I
super
mean, it definitely is. Yeah, for
super
sure.
thankful for you to be willing to do this with
Dude,
us,
I'm
with me.
excited because, like, a lot of
Also, I just
times,
hope
like,
it's enjoyable.
yeah, I think it will be.
Yeah.
I know that, for majority of my life, I just kind of rejected experiences because I was too scared. And now I'm just kind of like, no, I'm down for the adventure. Like, I want to do the adventure. Like I want to see the things that I've never seen before, and that within itself is enough to keep me going, even if I have to use a quarter shower.
Fucking, they call them, what are they called? Tent cabins? It's literally a cabin with a bunk bed in it. That's it.
That's
Nothing
it. There's
else.
no air. There's no electric. It's just that.
It's literally just that. What did they call those? I don't know. There was a camper cabin, maybe, is what it's
I literally
called.
think, yeah, it's something like that, because I was reading
Cabin.
all about the campground and like sending my mom all the information, because I was like, I already know I'm going to forget to send you all this stuff, so I'm just going to do it, and you just need to put it somewhere safe so you know.
Right.
But my mom was just kind of like, one thing about me, I'm my mother's daughter. She went camping like as a teen, but I've never been camping myself. My brothers have when they were in Boy Scouts, but that's the whole thing. I've never had any interest in that. I'm just super bougie, as mom would say. But like, she was like, you are going to go out into the wilderness with no air or electric or cell service. Like, what?
Okay. But mom, there's fresh air. There's fresh air, okay? It's better than AC air.
You got to understand, though, like, it's just not in my element, and that's why she's just a little bit confused. She's like, okay.
I think it's cute.
Okay.
I enjoy it very much. I know, poor Mads is all, there's no air in this cabin. And what she means by that is AC, because as you guys have heard, if you've listened to every episode we've ever put out, sometimes we get in little spats about the temperature of the hotel rooms that we're staying in.
It's true.
65 degrees over here. Fucking hell.
Dude, that's the best
like,
sleep.
Over there, like, my lips are turning blue and I'm chattering and I'm like, man, can we turn the air on, please? And she's like, there's no air in this cabin. And I was like, Madeline, it's going to be 34 degrees at night. Like, you will be fine.
I'm like, oh, thank God. I keep forgetting that. I also keep forgetting, real quick before we get on to the next story, I also keep forgetting that Bergie is 2 hours behind me. And so she said to me and Sheena, she was like, just so you guys know, you're going to have to get up early a couple times. And I'm like, no. And then Burgundy's like, literally, like, I'm 2 hours behind you. You will be okay. You'll be waking up at like 6 or 7 a.m.
Yeah,
like, and it's going to be like 9 a.m. your time.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to be fine.
Me, on the other hand, I'm going to be like a fucking zombie. I'm going to be like, it's too early for me.
Yeah, right. You're up, like, at the crack of dawn. Anyway.
I don't know why that is. It's because I'm not a morning person at all at home. At all.
So you say.
I'm not. I know Ryan's always like, can we go to the gym in the morning? I'm like, no, fuck that. Fuck that. I cannot.
Oh, God.
Okay, next story. Sorry, we get way off topic. You remember how we were like, we might do 2 parts of this? That's definitely happening at this point.
Oh, 100% is happening at this point.
We're already 30 minutes in.
But we also have plenty of stories to share, so I'm pumped. Okay, so the next one is the first couple of stories that we're going to read are all from Instagram. So this one's from Instagram as well. This one is from the username Lindsay Marie 84. So she says, ghost stories. I have several, but the 2 that stand out are the time me and my dog, saw my ex-husband's dead grandfather, whom I'd never met or seen in pictures. We were at my ex-mother-in-law's house, and I let my dog out in her backyard. She went apeshit, and I figured someone jumped the fence and was crossing through her yard. It was late, like 9-ish, so it was dark except for the back porch light shining out into the yard. But it stopped short of the back of their shed, and you couldn't see the back fence. My dog was barking at the back of the shed. I got ready to walk back there and figured I'd either run into a teenager or a raccoon. But instead, a tall figure walked out from behind the shed, going towards the back wood fence where I couldn't see.
Ew.
There was a chain link fence that ran off the back corner of the shed connecting to the back fence. It was cornered off because they used to have a dog and her garden was back there at one point. So the chain link fence kept her dog out of the garden. Anyway, I watched this super tall guy walk out from behind the shed and walk along the chain link fence. He was wearing a white t-shirt and dark pants. I couldn't see his face because it was limited to the glow of the back porch light. My dog is barking her ass off, hair standing, but she didn't go near him. Usually, she was super friendly, jumped on everyone. It was an issue because she used to get out and run over to our neighbors and literally jump in their car. I'm like, if my dog doesn't like you, you're bad news. So I yelled at the dude to basically get the fuck off of their yard. He walked unfazed, and as he stepped into the line where light faded into black, he literally disappeared completely. My dog quit barking. I'm like, WTF. Me being stupid, 20 at the time. I started walking over there, into the dark, like, I'm really about to do something. Spoiler, I'm not. And dude is gone. There was nobody out there. No one jumped over the fence. I would have heard him climb it or step in the leaves. I got my dog and ran into the house, told my ex and his mom about what happened. They look at each other, then me. My mother-in-law grabs a pic from her bedroom and was like, was this him? I said, yes. Do you know him? Is that your neighbor? She laughed and was like, no, that's my dad. He died 20 plus years ago. He was a mechanic and always wore a white t-shirt and dark blue work pants.
That's so wild, dude. I got chills.
I know, like me too, like actually chills. That is so creepy, but I've had a similar experience like that before.
First of all, really quick, I want to say that I wish I love the use of her emojis in this.
I know, it's so funny. And like her side notes.
Spoiler, I'm not eye roll emoji. Like,
her side notes too, like it was just so freaking funny. So Lindsay, thank you for sharing your story. That was hilarious. But I do want to say, like, real quick, a story that I had that was similar was there was a short period of time in 2020 when my mom and I lived with my great grandma. And you know, if you are this far into the podcast, you would know I was very, very close to my great grandma. She was like my second mother. And, but the thing is I had never met my great grandfather, her husband. He died 2 years before I was born. But I lived my whole life knowing him in a different way based off of the stories. He played music. He did all that kind of stuff. So I had an experience, me and my mom both did actually, where we were coming into the screen porch and we saw him like standing on the other side of the screen porch, which, like I just said, like I have asked God to not let me see stuff like that, but this is kind of an exception because it was a family member. But literally, like I just remember seeing him and being like, oh, that was Pawpaw. Did you just see Pawpaw? And mom was like, yes, I did. I just saw Pawpaw. And ever since then, that has just like been so surreal to me. Like, it's so interesting that they'll come back sometimes and be like, yeah, what's up? I'm here. I know. It's cute.
Like, hey, I'm here. I see you. Giving
but it just, yeah, but it just goes to show that like they're still around. Even when you think that they're not, they're still there.
I love that.
So that.
I love that.
So cute.
Okay, really quick. I have to pee. I shall be
sick.
Yeah, sorry, I've been drinking a shit ton of water to stay hydrated, so I'll be right back.
Bye, bitch. Okay, so I don't know if you guys have seen the TikTok trend lately. Every time that like one of us have to like get up to like go pee or like do something in the middle of the podcast recording, it's so funny because I think about the trend now about when people will leave their camera, like it's usually girls, and they'll be like, okay guys, can you watch my boyfriend please? And then the boyfriend's just sitting there and he's like, what do I do? Like, what do I talk about? And he just doesn't say anything. And he just looks at the camera and he's like, what? So that's kind of how I feel right now. Yeah.
Are you talking shit?
No, I was
No.
no, no. I'll let you hear back, but or I'll tell you after this because I don't want to go into the whole explanation. But like, it's kind of funny.
Next story. Sorry. I don't know what's wrong. The verdict is still out on what's wrong with me. If anybody finds out, let me know. Anyways, okay. So, still on Instagram, Lynn's.m86. She shared a couple with us here. So, first one is, I had a very beautiful experience with a team in the Bel Air house in Ohio. There's a room in the house considered the children's room. For reference, I'm psychic. So the team was asking questions and not getting any interactions. So I asked to set up K2 meters around the room and I would play hide and seek with the children. The rules were simple. They hide, I count, and then I'd energetically seek them out. When I did, they were to light up which K2 they're near to confirm I found them. I got it right every time. It was a lot of fun, actually. You want any comments on that, Mads, before we continue?
Oh shit.
I play hide and seek with my dogs all the time, so I bet it would be fun to play with ghosts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No comment.
No comment.
Carry on.
Okay, next one. I'm about to become the next Dakota if I mispronounce this word wrong, but y'all will figure it out in a second if Mads corrects me or not. At my parents' house, when I was younger, I used to hear whispers. Their house has a lot of passerbys, as I call them. I was visiting them recently and I heard my mom downstairs call to me and realized she wasn't home. She had left to get takeout. Side note, I live in the Appalachians, so that shit happens everywhere here. Still freaky though. Okay,
shit.
apparently I said it right because I was like waiting for Mads to be like, this is not how you pronounce this.
No, you're good. So apparently, Melissa, she said that up in the northern part, they call it the Appalachians. I don't know what she's talking about because I've always heard people call it the Appalachian Mountains, and to this day, they've always been corrected when they say Appalachians. So they may say it that way, but it's supposed to be Appalachian. So
cool. Just because I thought it was like latch, cool, like Latch. Latch.
Kill.
Cool.
Yeah.
The passerbys thing is like earlier when we were talking about it's not always the building, but sometimes like the property is like, so I feel like because my house is not haunted, but I feel like I have had things pass through. So I'm pretty sure that Lynn's is talking about the same type of thing here. But like one time I was laying on my bed. It was like the middle of the night, probably like 11ish p.m. and I was about to go to sleep. And Diesel, out of nowhere, he just like stood up over the top of me. Like he had his back paws on my right side and his front paws on my left side. And he was just growling in like he was so aggravated at something and just barking at something. And he like got his little mohawk, his little defensive mohawk. And it was like the weirdest thing. It just came out of nowhere. Like he was dead ass asleep. And all of a sudden he just gets up and just stands above me and starts freaking out at something. And then he gets down off the bed and goes and sniffs the foot. I have this like giant stuffed sea turtle on my dresser. And he like got up and like sniffed the foot of it and then just came back to bed and laid down like nothing happened. It was the freakiest fucking thing, dude. I was like, what is going on?
That's weird as crap.
Yeah, I felt very uneasy about that.
Yeah, I think I would too, honestly. But you know what? Like, I do believe in the whole like passerbys, as you know, she was discussing, because like when I first moved into this house, I felt like a paranormal, like something in this house felt a little bit heavy, and I had a couple of experiences that were a little bit offsetting. But then, like after I saged the house or whatever, it you know. I have not had any issues since, and it does not feel that way anymore. As well as other places I have lived. A part of me wonders if maybe it's not the place that's the haunting, but it's the person. Like, what if we're the haunting? Like we carry people with us.
Yeah, I had a roommate once. I'm pretty sure she had something attached to her. because I didn't have anything in the house, and then she moved in, and then we kind of experienced a couple of random things, and then when she moved out, it was gone.
Ew. Yeah. See,
Yeah,
I believe in that 100%.
I'll have to share some of those stories too. But like one time, I painted murals on our walls, so she's like all about the mountains, and I'm all about the ocean. It's not that I don't love the mountains also, but I just prefer the ocean. So I painted mountains on her wall, and then we were painting an ocean on my wall. Did I ever show you those? I'll have to send them to you. Maybe I'll post them
No,
on Patreon.
I don't think so.
But when we were in the middle of painting my wall, she let me sleep in her room with her one night because like the paint smell and it was drying and stuff, And so I remember waking up it's always the middle of the night, dude. I remember waking up in the middle of the night and the weirdest thing, I went to the bathroom, I came back, I laid down, I almost fell asleep. I was like right at that point where you're like just about to hit sleep, and there was just like something under her bed like scratched. Like made a scratch sound.
Ew.
Yeah, and I was really freaked out. Yeah, I went downstairs and I laid on the couch and turned on Family Guy and went back to bed. But yeah, it was gross.
Ew. That's creepy. I don't like
But
stuff
like
like
some
that.
other random shit happened. Yeah, some other random stuff happened when she lived with me, and it wasn't anything like super crazy. It's just weird stuff like that. Like one time.
Yeah. Yikes.
One time,
Ew.
her and I were really into watching Family Guy together, and so one time, like our bedrooms were across from each other, and then there was a bathroom and a little linen closet between our two bedrooms. And so she's in her room, and I was in my room, and both of us had our doors closed, and both heard like Family Guy playing, and then we like came out of our rooms, and the TV was off and everything. It was so weird.
Ew. See,
Yeah.
I know I always have like a visceral reaction and I always say, ew, gross, disgusting. But it's just like,
It's not
I don't know.
actual
It kind of,
it's just like, yeah.
it,
Keep going.
it just, it's unsettling. It's unsettling. Like, I don't know any other
Yeah.
word for
Yeah.
it except ew. Like immediately.
Yeah, because like, well, it freaks me out, Like just ew.
Literally, ew.
Ew. You know what? I'm gonna add the song Ew. Have you ever heard the song Ew by Jimmy Fallon and will.i.am? I'm adding it to our playlist right now. Hold on, before I forget.
I have not.
Okay, next story from Lynn's.m86. Her third one. I was visiting the Greene County Almshouse before they started getting more publicity for their hauntings. I was sitting at a table downstairs and decided to write down my overall impressions. I had written up some random things, like what certain rooms looked like and what spirits were in certain rooms. My colleague, who used to work there, asked me if I'd already walked around. I said no. He laughed and said, well, come here with me and bring your notes. I checked off everything in my list as I walked through. I had seen the place in my mind before I knew it. It was like living a dream. Lots of Native American energy in that place and on the land. That was corroborated by the owner. One room in specific, I could feel a man on the opposite side of the door telling me not to cross the threshold. I told my colleague there were human remains inside, and he laughed and said, we just discovered them on the property a day ago. We put them in there and I locked it up. Crazy. That is crazy. What the fuck?
Ew.
Ew. Gross.
Honestly, I don't know what it is within me, but like Native American history is just so fascinating. And so like their spirituality and their religious like practices were also just so interesting and so fascinating to me. Like, have you ever listened to like Native American music? It just speaks to you on a whole other level. It always gives me cold chills. It's just like I can't help but have like a reaction to it because it's just so incredible. So anytime I ever hear anything that is about like Native American energy, it's just kind of like, whoa,
Mm-hmm.
It's very fascinating to me.
100%. And the last story from Lynn's.m86 that we have here. I love the ending of this one. That's the only part I saw because the emojis. I'm like a freaking child. I'm like, pictures, yay! Sorry.
All right.
Okay, anyways. I had a very terrifying encounter with an entity at my ex's house. It was my first time going over and staying the night. We hadn't been dating long, maybe a couple of months. He had to work late, so he gave me his key and told me to get settled in and that he'd be back shortly. I went into his room and was looking at the books on his shelf. It started out harmless, then midway down were tons of volumes on demonic shit. Oh my gosh. She didn't write that. I just said, oh my gosh. Okay, anyways, back to her story. I immediately was like, what the fuck? I heard something in the hallway hiss and demanded it leave me alone. Something grabbed the back of my dress, which was stretchy material, pulled it down to the middle of my back and let it go, like snapping a rubber band. I ran down the stairs and refused to go back. We broke up shortly after. No demons for me, thanks. Laughing face emoji, skull emoji. Okay.
Fucking yikes, dude. I'm not even playing around.
That's why I paused it after that one sentence. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, no, that's a hard no for me as well.
Huge pass, dog. Huge pass on that one.
I've seen people, especially those that are like Satanists and stuff that practice it. They say that it's not the biblical Satan, and I still have no idea what the hell that means.
Yeah, what could that mean, honestly?
Like, where do you think it came from? Like, I don't understand. I don't know. I get kind of worked up on stuff like that, so I'm not going to get too into it, but like that, it would be an immediate no for me. Like, oh, no. I don't do that. I am a child of God. Sorry. I'm out. No regrets there.
Yeah.
Every night when I, go to bed, I always pray for clarity, protection, and the safety of not just me, my family, but my friends as well, because it's just one of those things that ever since like one of our, we have Cuban family friends, and she was like, she's also a medium, and she was like, you should always pray for clarity, protection, and safety, and that way you can have like protection over your home, nothing will come in, God will protect you. And so ever since then, that has stuck with me, because I'm like, yeah, one thing for sure is that this place that I live is going to be protected. Like, I will be protected by God. So yeah, if I ever felt anything bad, I would have said the same.
Yeah.
Like, I've had some insane dreams, which I've said before, the very scary dream about like all the crosses turning upside down and hearing like the 3 church bells, which is like a mocking of the Holy Trinity. And ever since that dream, like in that dream, I was struggling to wake up, first of all, but it was like I couldn't get out. And in the dream, I was like saying the Lord's Prayer. I was like, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Like, I was like saying the Lord's Prayer, and it's not funny at all, but it's just more like, I know that God will protect me. Like, there is no question. There is no second guess. Like, I just know for a fact. So yeah, Lindsay, I would have done the same. I'd have been like, boy, bye.
Literally.
We breaking up, boy.
There was the one time I was at a friend's apartment and we had been drinking, but we were talking about ghosts and paranormal and stuff, and like our one other friend like passed out on his couch. And then my friend and I were sitting in his bed and we were talking, and I just was like, I kept looking over at his doorway. Like, the only light we had on was in his bedroom, and then the lights in his kitchen and living room were off. So, and again, middle of the night. So I kept looking at his doorway, and he's like, do you see him too? And I was like, what? I was like, I think so. I thought I was just making shit up. And he was like, no, there's like a guy standing right there. And I was like, okay, yeah. So I saw the silhouette of it, but I was like, I thought I was just making it up in my head. So then he confirmed that, and I was like, oh, sick. Not really. But anyways.
Right.
So we were both just like, I was like, why is it feels very not nice. And he was like, yeah, it's not. He's like, I'm just always like, you just have to tell him, like, we have God's light. And I was like, okay. And I just like envision like me and him. We were so fucking drunk, dude. This is probably so dumb. But we both held hands and we closed our eyes and we were just like, we are admitting God's light. We're admitting God's light from our body. We are surrounded by his light. His light literally is outlining our beings, and you will not touch us. Like, I don't know. It was weird, but he had this plant in his room that died like 2 days after that. So do with that information what you will. Yeah.
Oh, how interesting. I literally was talking and I was like, I'm on mute still. I'm such a
You were. It's okay.
First of all, I said amen. to what you
Yeah,
said. And then I
literally.
was like, yeah, that's interesting. Anyway.
Right?
Oh
Um,
my Lord. Hell yeah, we're on to Twitter now. We're going to go ahead and share our last story of this episode. And then we'll continue on with the rest of our stories because we are so fortunate that we had so many submissions that we have to even make a part 2. So again, I can't thank you guys enough. I've thanked you twice, but thank you again.
this
So
is
this
fun.
one, it is fun. It's so fun because it's like it's giving us an opportunity to also like speak about our own experiences that we may have already mentioned on the podcast or may not have,
I know
but
I
we
haven't
can
because I'm like,
relate.
yeah, I know I haven't because I'm always like, I don't have that many stories. But then listening or hearing other people's stories, I'm like, whoa, this reminds me of this one time.
Yeah,
So
exactly. See?
it's kind of cool.
But this one is going to be a little bit different because Kayla sent us an audio, which shout out Kayla. Her username on Twitter is __ KAYYALA. This is her story. So let's get into it.
When I was in 7th grade, I lived in Virginia, and like Virginia is already haunted as shit. The place is like covered in history and trauma and just haunted out the ass. Okay. So my best friend, she lived on a very old farm that was literally all by itself, set back way in the middle of a field. It's probably exactly what you're picturing. Her house was built in I think the early 1800s, but it was so old that there were 2 front doors still. One was for the women to go in and the other one was for the men to go in. They had barns and it was like known that their house was haunted by them. They didn't care because they were never bothered by it. Like I witnessed firsthand the night that this happened that, you know, they said that they would lay in their rooms at night and hear talking downstairs and nobody slept downstairs. There was nobody downstairs. And like everything was so thin, so tiny, like the walls were thin and tiny. And I remember laying in her bed and she was like passed the fuck out beside me, like used to this shit. And I'm like freaking out because I can hear conversation downstairs. This isn't even the scary part, but I don't even know how I got myself to sleep, but I finally got myself to like calm down and like go to sleep. But I think it was like towards midnight or 1 a.m. I just wake up with like this feeling that there's something right beside me. And I would look over and I swear there is this, it was like hard to see. I can't even, it was a little girl. Like I swear on everything. And then I closed my eyes because I don't know if I remember if I think that I was just dreaming or what. So I like rolled over and closed my eyes on my back. And, okay, so I'm on my back, eyes closed, like trying to figure what the heck is going on. Like, am I dreaming? Is this real? Like, am I freaking myself out? I know what I saw. Like, there wasn't details or anything, but it was like this height, everything of like a little girl. And it just kind of like felt like that too. I've always been really sensitive to these things, but growing up, I was also told, oh no, those aren't real. I think to kind of make me not scared, which didn't work. It just made me confused as fuck. And anyways, so I have my eyes closed and it just feels like something is running around the bed. Like it kind of sounds like that, like they're shuffling, like from my friend, she was on my left side and it was going from like her side of the bed all the way down to the bottom of the bed on the floor, all the way up to my side of the bed. And it kind of just like was going back and forth like that. And I was too scared to look. Like, I think I was hiding under the covers at this point because I was just terrified. And then, like, I was praying because I was so scared. And this has scarred me for life, by the way, and my family too. I was praying, and then it feels like something is on the bed. And, like, I try waking my friend up. She would not wake up. Like, she would wake up, like, mumble a few words or moan around, like, nothing bothering her at all on the freaking bed. Like, it felt like it was on top of me, and I was not in sleep paralysis. I was able to move. I put my head under the covers, like I rolled over, everything. I was able to get my phone, which I did not have good service at my friend's house. And my parents, we lived like 40 minutes away. I called them, and I think it took like so many, I don't know how many calls, but it took a certain amount of calls for them to actually wake up and hear me. Because I think at this point it was like 2:00 in the morning. Side note, sorry I'm whispering, I'm at work. But so at this point I'm sobbing. Michaela, my friend, does wake up. She goes and gets her dad after I tell her like everything that happened. They weren't fazed by it. Don't ask me why. It took me a very, very, very long time for me to go back over there just because I was traumatized, but you'll understand why. My parents came and got me. I remember getting in the front seat of our van. And I think my mom might have sat in the right behind me in the back, but I just kept feeling like whatever it was still there with me. And I remember looking over like my shoulder and like looking into the very back of the van. I couldn't see anything, but I just felt very strongly whatever it was. I told my parents what happened. I don't remember much of what happened like on that ride home or anything. I just felt relief. So I think I just rested with them. I don't remember how quickly things started happening, but I know at my house I just started being very paranoid because I had that lingering feeling still of something being there. Like it got to the point where I could not go upstairs by myself. I felt like something was constantly behind me, constantly watching me, and my house was very creepy. It wasn't as old as Michaela's. It was probably built in like 1950. We weren't as secluded or anything, but it was an older house. And it was just like, I think the day that shit really hit the fan and we realized what was happening was the fact that it was when my dad was out of town on a business trip. And this was not, but like shortly after this thing at Michaela's house happened. And I've just been feeling like this negative feeling ever since then. It's probably like a couple weeks later, if that. But Dad's out of town. My dad's out of town. It's nighttime, like middle of the night. I am in my room, have my TV on. My brother's in his room, my mom's in her room, and I can like diagonally see my mom's room from the way that my room is set up in my bed. So I'm in like the farthest opposite corner of my door that goes out into the hallway. And then right beside my door, I had a desk with a desk chair. I think like I was awake. I could not sleep. I had a horrible time sleeping just around that entire time. And I remember feeling like something just all of a sudden was there. And like these feelings were so intense. I can remember it was so terrifying. I felt like noises were coming from my closet, which was directly to the right of me in bed. And so I was like, okay, yeah, it's nothing. I'm not paying attention to it. I had like started praying and was just like, God, like this is okay. Like I'm okay. I'm just freaking myself out at this point. Well, my curtains started moving by themselves and there's no air. We didn't even have like, our house was old. I don't even think it had like the ability to do that. Like our air, we had fans and the fan was not on. And I think that's when I was like, okay, maybe I'm not freaking myself out. So I started hiding under my covers again. And I felt whatever it was approach my bed like it did at Michaela's. And it sounded like a giggle. And that's when I'm like, little girl. It felt like that type of presence too, in a way. But it was doing the same shit. Like it was at my bedside, going from the bottom to the side. My curtains, it was messing with. I was trying to figure out how to get out of that room. Like how the hell do I get out of this situation? I'm alone. My mom's asleep. My brother's asleep. I barely got phone service at our house. So And this is back in the day of like a LG Shine, I think is what my phone was. So I had to lay my phone on a certain spot on my bed to get a couple bars of cell phone service. I was hiding under my covers, and I remember just dialing our home phone number, and I remember the exact number, but it wasn't until I peeked out of my covers and I looked at my mom's room to see if I could just straight shot it and run over there. And I have my desk and my chair right there. Well, my chair was kind of like pulled out facing me. I had done that, I think. And so I'm looking in my mom's room, and plain as fucking day, a face pops through the back of that chair. And I completely like paralyzed. I can still see it in my head. It was absolutely fucking terrifying. It looked like a little girl, but it also had like a demon face. And I'm not even shitting you. This was the most terrifying thing in my entire life. I ended up calling my mom, our house phone, like, I think it was like 60 something times, because I kept failing like with my service. And my mom finally like got up. I don't know why. She's a heavy sleeper, I guess. I don't know. I'm fucking in there freaking out. I told her what happened. I don't know. It's so long ago. But long story short, it was an attachment. We had to have our house blessed by multiple different pastors. They came in and blessed. They had to work with me. I was, like I said, in 7th grade. I don't remember how old I was, but yeah, for a couple weeks, like leading up to that, my parents they wouldn't even go upstairs by themselves. They knew how terrified I was, what I was telling them that I'm seeing, what I was telling them I'm feeling. They even went up there, and like my mom told me a couple of years ago, way after this had happened, that she would go up there and like have conversations and tell whatever it was to just leave me alone because it was traumatizing me. I don't remember like how I was acting around the time, and I really don't remember much else about it because the whole thing about it was seeing the face through the chair and just the freaking horrible, like dreadful, deep feeling of it. I don't know. And they're assuming, like the preachers and people that we've talked to, like we're assuming it came from my friend's house, but why it was there, I don't know. Where it came from, I don't know. It attached itself to me, and literally everybody in my family knows because of how bad that whole time was for us and like how much we went through because of that situation. But yeah, I had a little fake, you know how those things work, little girl attachments, and it was absolutely fucking terrifying, and I would not wish it on anybody, and I don't even know what I did to get it, but thanks for listening. And yeah, I love your podcast, and I think you guys are both awesome and absolutely hilarious, and I've never related to anybody more, so keep that shit up. Thanks. Bye.
That was so cute at the end.
Okay. Well, first of all, thanks, Kayla, for softening that blow because I'm sitting here freaked the fuck out.
Same. Oh my god.
I'm gonna go to bed tonight. It's literally 4:30 p.m. and I'm like, I'm scared.
And even though she said that like she was whispering because she's at work, it kind of adds like to the ambiance where it's like, oh my gosh, like we're having a sleepover and you're literally like telling us a scary story and we're just shitting ourselves like quietly.
I know. I'm like, I'm cold now, man. I have goosebumps.
I know.
Girl was full on living her own version of like the Paranormal Activity movies.
Right? Like what the fuck?
Dude, I don't know. If I was her, like the part where she said she saw the face through the chair, I would have fucking screamed. Like, at least I think. I mean, she said she was paralyzed, so she's probably so terrified she couldn't. But I was, I don't know. I don't know what I would do. That's terrifying, Caleb. What the fuck?
I'm
so like, sorry you experienced that.
What the shit, dog?
I'm tripping for you. Tell me what.
But thank you for sharing and taking the time to like do the audio.
Especially at work. Like, what? Thank you for doing that at work. For us? What? No, I'm scared. Cool. So I'm just gonna go watch Phineas and Ferb now.
Phineas and Ferb. That's actually, I haven't seen that in so long. That would be so fucking fun to watch.
Sometimes I'm such a fucking baby. Okay, sometimes if I sleep on my couch at night, like on the weekends, and I go to fall asleep. Do you ever remember growing up and you would put on like, I don't know, maybe Cartoon Network, and then in the middle of the night they would play, like you'd be dead ass asleep as like an 8-year-old, and then they would play a trailer for whatever new spooky movie was coming out on a commercial.
Like Goosebumps.
And it would wake you the fuck up. And then I'm talking like even creepier than that, but yeah. And then it would wake you up, and then you're like all terrified, like half groggy, watching this trailer for a spooky movie at like 3 a.m.
And you're just like, damn it, what the hell?
Yeah. And so I guess that traumatized me enough as a child that now if I sleep on my couch, sometimes I'm like, I have to watch Disney stuff. And I will like put on Phineas and Ferb and fall the fuck asleep.
Oh, dude, like, do you remember like back when Destination Fear like first started, and we would all get so creeped out, like us and the Fear fam. We would literally be like, we would do the Disney movie.
Yeah,
after
what did
party.
we call it? Yeah, the after party is me, you, and Madison, and then we would just get whoever wanted to join us, and we would like the one time we would watch like Tangled, we watched Toy Story on Christmas, like around Christmas time. We all watched the Santa Claus.
We watched
on Zoom.
Cars.
Yeah, on Zoom together.
That was so fun because we were like, Project Fear, or oh my god, Destination Fear. It's so scary.
It's 9 o'clock on Friday. I'm freaked out. Yeah. We just did it because it was fun and cute, and why not?
Yeah,
Yeah,
those were the days.
I miss those days sometimes. It was
now
like the height of the pandemic.
Oh yeah, but like the thing is that like when Destination Fear was on and we would all live tweet, like you just had to be there. It was so fun. I miss that.
Me too. I miss
bring it back.
I miss secretly filming my mom, because like now if I try to film her watching Project Fear, she's like, "Are you filming me?" I'm like, "No, no, I'm not."
Just being like just straight dicks. Anyway,
as opposed to one with Peronis.
Right.
Do you know what Peronis is?
No.
That was the dumbest fucking joke I could have ever made, ever. Like, this worse than dad jokes. Peronis is like a medical condition when you have a bend in your penis when it like curves, but like too much.
What the fuck? Okay. I don't know
you
if
said we're being straight dicks, and I was like, as opposed to one with Peronis.
What a weird.
Okay, this has been your dumb dad joke on the day. Moving on.
Jesus. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's like it's worse than that, like what I explained, but essentially it causes a curve in your penis. So it's mostly because of scar tissue. But anyways, moving on.
Yikes.
Yeah. Dumbest dad joke in the history of dad jokes. Wow, did you miss the fear, babes? Are you sure? Continue to question it. Anyways. Yeah. We've officially hit 300 followers on Instagram, and we are only 27 away from 500 on Twitter or X, whatever the fuck you want to call it nowadays, Elon. Whatever. What this means. Why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this not to brag, even though thank you for letting us hit 300 followers on Instagram. Huge accomplishment in our opinions. Why is Berg saying this to you? Berg is saying this to you because we want to do a fucking giveaway. We've been trying to do it for months now, but we've set these numbers as our goal point to do the giveaway. So we officially hit our goal on Instagram. We are 27 away from Twitter. Once we hit that mark, we're doing a fucking giveaway. Finally! Yay!
Whee!
If you haven't yet, apparently we have chapters on Spotify now, if you haven't seen those yet. Full disclosure, mostly for the concern of Connor, because the one on Tanner's episode is so fucking funny.
We don't know why Spotify decided to say Connor is a fucking fuck. Like, what is that?
We don't name these chapters. I don't know where the names came from. I'm
And
assuming
what's
Spotify did it itself.
What's funnier is we have never said Connor is a fucking fuck. We may have said that about Alex. We may have said that about Dakota, but we have never said that about Connor. Never.
We don't think that about Connor. We love Connor.
I think Spotify is trying to make an enemy out of us for Connor. Like,
Spotify's like, you're trying to have beef with Dakota and Tanner and Alex, but what about Connor?
they're like, oh, you like Connor? Not anymore. Well, he's not going to like you. Names the chapter, Connor is a fucking fuck. Like, what the hell? And the worst part is like, all the other chapters make sense. Like, they're actually things that we say. Except, like, a couple of them, I was like, oh, what does that even mean? But Connor is a fucking fuck has never came out of my mouth or yours, like, ever.
No. What's even worse is in that episode we were talking to Tanner about how nice Connor is.
I literally think Spotify has a vendetta against us.
I think so.
No, oh my god, Alex and Dakota work for Spotify.
Oh, I see. So Alex hacked Spotify and then decided to start a secret beef with Connor between Fear Babes and Connor. Connor, we don't want to beef with you. The other guys, fuck them. Okay, whatever. Like, we'll beef all day long. But Connor, you're our favorite. Like,
we actually
Spotify.
We actually like Connor. Like, he's a really cool guy. But
the one that I don't get from the recent one is the animated show. Like, what is that? I guess we talk about
with Rachel, we were talking about her husband's animated show.
Yeah, but this one was the last one we did when we were talking to Amanda.
Oh, it was the animated.
Like it's pre-talking to her because the one after that says Fear Fam Yes.
I don't know. Well, did we talk about Jersey? Because we watched those things.
Yeah.
Those weird animated things on YouTube.
It says it before we talk to her, which is the part I'm like, what? I don't know. Anyways, Spotify chapters. The titles are really fucking funny if you go look at them. We didn't create them. That's all I wanted to say.
I mean, like
full disclosure, we didn't title these chapters. Also, there's one every 3 fucking minutes for some reason.
It's really funny.
It's like broken up. Like the audio line is broken up like 50 times.
Let me just give you guys like a little bit of a hint before we end this. This is Tanner's chapters, okay? We've got the intro. Awesome. Makes sense. We've got Tanner Wiseman. Awesome. Makes sense. We've got Why Do We Hate People? Awesome. Makes sense. We've got Why Do You Hate Tanner? Awesome. You know, that makes a lot of sense. The Smooth Brain makes sense because I have a smooth brain. Then it goes the road trip. Yeah, great, awesome. Ned's doesn't make sense because we don't know what the fuck that means.
Who the fuck is Ned? Like,
do y'all know a Ned? I don't know. And then the next chapter, of course, is the infamous Connor is a fucking fuck. The next one is Why Do We Hate Tanner again? Because obviously, if you couldn't tell, we
clearly hate Tanner. Like,
we hate Tanner. But it makes sense to what we were talking about, and that one's really long. Then Tanner's gambling experience, which he did gamble before he came on the podcast. Mm-hmm. Beginner's luck, where we talk about, you know, me being on the cruise and winning like $160. And then the weather is the last chapter of that one. So at least they partially make sense.
Some of them, yeah.
Except for Ned's and Connor is a fucking fuck, which I keep saying it because it's so fun to say, but Connor is not a fucking fuck. We just want to go out there and say that right now.
Why is this so funny?
I have a lot of people who are fucking fucks on my list, but Connor is nowhere near that. Nowhere near.
Totally not Connor. The one where we talked to Bree from Fear Friends about Iowa sucks. Just like intro, of course. Having a significant other. Okay. I am a millennial, but none of the words are capitalized. Like the rest of the chapters have capitalized words.
What the hell?
I am a millennial. It's not none of them are capitalized. And then the one after that, out of pocket, which pretty much sums up Fear Babes, I suppose. And then, you know, you go a little bit further down, and then third chapter from the end is Project Dicks, which also makes sense because I kept saying that episode. But some of the chapter names are just really fucking funny. Like, Connor is a fucking fuck, so.
Except he's not. That's Alex.
I kind of want to name this episode Connor is a fucking fuck, but at the same time.
He'd be like, he would honestly like look at it and be like, "Are you guys? What is going on?" Like,
he'd be like, "No, not me."
It's like, damn it, what did I do?
I hit the radar. Oh
no. Shit. I know they're sick of us. I know they are. I can't stop the bullying. Once it has started, now I understand why there's bullies in school. Because once they start, they just can't stop. It just becomes way too fun. And we don't have any repercussions. They don't say anything, which makes it even worse. Like, if they said something like, "Hey guys, like, shut the fuck up," we would be like, okay.
I'd be like, first of all, don't steal my catchphrase. Well, fine, what the fuck ever.
We'd be like,
"Oh, fucking fuck." Like, what?
How many times have we taken it too far? Way too many.
All of them. Every time. Every single time.
Do we recognize that? 100%. Yeah.
Are we gonna stop? Never.
No, probably not.
You know what though? That doesn't mean you get to bully them.
Oh, yeah. I do want to.
People pick on your brothers, and you're like, only I get to bully him. Nobody else can bully my fucking brother. It's like that.
Yeah, I do want to say, guys, don't bully them.
Yeah, like, stop with this whole, I can bully them because Fear Babes does it. No,
yeah,
you can't.
Because, like, they know that we're joking.
Well, not only that, but I'm willing to, if they're not going to talk to me ever again, I'm willing to accept that. I don't want the other innocent fans to ruin anything for themselves.
Yeah. So just kind of, be kind, This is where Mama Mads comes in, because honestly, like, I can joke all fucking day. I can hee ha ha my ass off, But like, at some point, I have seen recently a couple of things in the Fear Club and on Twitter, and I'm just gonna say, don't do it. Don't do it.
I mean, we'll stop if we have to. We're doing it strictly for jokes, and in the wise words of Wiseman, for LOLs and ha-has. But, like Mad says, they know that we're joking. We've kind of established that with them, and we make it very crystal clear to them every time that we don't actually mean it. Just because you don't hear that part doesn't mean that we don't do that. So, yeah, just don't
be mean.
Don't actually bully people. Okay? Don't actually be bullies. That's not cool. We don't condone actual bullying.
Unless it's to JoJo Siwa, I'm totally.
Oh my god.
I fucking can't stand JoJo Siwa.
Do not become cyberbullies. Fuck.
Unless it's to JoJo Siwa, like I said.
We could name this episode Cyberbullying is a fucking fuck.
Perfect. All right, sounds good. Sick. On that note, it's almost it's time to wrap her up like a fresh weenie in the morning.
Need to say anything else? Whoa! Don't be silly. Wrap your willy.
Anyway, so subscribe to our Patreon. It's awesome. It's $5 a month. We have a great time over there. You get a extra podcast a month called Fear Babes After Dark, where we drink and we discuss anything and everything, and we tell you some of our deepest, darkest secrets. We tell you about some fun things that we've encountered on our trips together and all kinds of stuff like that. We also post exclusive content almost daily, videos, pictures. We have exclusive merch in there. We have a shirt in there right now that is something that's fun.
I'm about to go work on a possible another shirt too.
So yeah, we're about to ramp up our merch as well. That's going to be a thing. So I highly recommend you check out our Etsy shop. which is linked in our social media bios, as well as in the bio underneath wherever you listen to your podcast, except YouTube, because YouTube is a jerk. So
YouTube is the weenie of the week.
Is definitely the weenie of the week. So definitely check it out. Once the merch that's on Etsy is gone, for the most part, it's gone. The stickers that are up there right now, they still have Jamie in them, so they're limited edition. Once they're done for real. So that's going to be a thing. Our keychains, we're going to offer different keychains, but once the ones that are already made are gone, they're gone. So we just kind of want to ramp up our merch for you guys, and we're listening. We've heard what you're saying, and we're going to take all of that into consideration. So we've been working a little bit behind the scenes. We've said this before on our last couple of episodes that we do have full-time jobs. This is a passion project. This is something that's really fun to us. Of course, merch and Patreon and stuff like that. That is all goes back into the podcast. It all goes back into what we're doing and the content and everything that we provide. It just goes back into this essentially. So we hope you guys will check it out. We hope you join us on Patreon, and we hope you check out our Etsy shop. Yeah. Anything else, Bergie?
No, I think we covered it all. On that note, bye, babes.
Bye, babes.
Hell yeah, dude. Okay.